Hey Canucks fans, let's talk about the Canucks core and is it as strong as we need it to be? I'm Canuck Clay. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take on one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, August the 18th. If you're new, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button for Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. It's a Honda Odyssey day. Yes, my Civic is in the shop, so I have the family van. And no, we are not expecting nor have a baby, or there's not a child that we don't know about. That doesn't make sense. That is to bring our niece around when we need to. I want to talk about the Canucks core because obviously the Canucks core is so important. The core of anything is important. That's the kind of nature of it being a core. And it came up in Henrik Sedin's really good interview with Thomas Drance for the latest Vancast episode. And when Drance asked Henrik, you know, how is this team going to succeed? Basically, what's important for this team to succeed? Henrik flat out said, "It's the core. It's the guys that have been here. They need to be your best players. They need to continue to improve." And he even said, like, it's nice to bring in the Oliver Ekman-Larssons of the world and the Garlands and the Dickinsons, but when it comes down to it, it's back to your core guys, and they're the ones that have to lead the way, be your best players, and indeed continue to improve. You know, I saw a couple people saying that was a veiled shot or response at Elias Pettersson's comments from last week, saying that he wants to play on a winning team. I wouldn't go that far, but I think it's great that Henrik is as role as one of the special advisors to the Canucks. I think it's great that he's challenging the Canucks' best players to be their best players. So I want to spend a few minutes talking about the core, who I think's in it, and the prospects of them being as strong as they need to be going forward. Now, we can argue and debate or discuss, is probably a better way of putting it, who's the core of the Vancouver Canucks, and whether you go by age or by role on the team or by whether they are drafted or not. I think all those things come into it. And, you know, Brandon Sutter, great player, was called foundational by Jim Benning. Foundation sounds like core, but I wouldn't say Brandon Sutter is a core player. I wouldn't say Tanner Pearson's a core player, even though those guys have been around. They're important, they're important pieces of the puzzle for sure. But for me, I always said that the core I would always say it was the core four of Horvat, Boeser, Pettersson, and Hughes. And then I think I've added Thatcher Demko in that mix. So for me, the core of the Vancouver Canucks are those five players: Horvat, Boeser, Pettersson, Hughes, and Demko. And in that core, you have at least one elite center, a potentially elite defenseman, and a really good goaltender. You add in Horvat and Boeser, of course, to those three, and then now you have two centers, a winger, a defenseman, and a goalie. So those five guys make up the core for me. Some would say, and I have time for this argument, that JT Miller is part of the core because of how important he is, how he was our team's leading scorer 2 seasons ago, and just the leader that he is on and off the ice. I get that. I have no problem with that. And then I think Podkolzin and Höglander will indeed be part of the core going forward because of their young age, 20 years old, and their hopefully important roles on the team. But I wouldn't put them there yet. But when you're, I don't want to argue too much about the semantics. When you're talking about the core of a team, you can expand it as much as you want. But for me, the core is a tight-knit group. And when I look at the core of this Canucks team, to me, it's Pettersson, Hughes, Boeser, Horvat, and Demko, with Miller, Podkolzin, Höglander, and even Rathbone kind of being like the next layer, so to speak. And when you look at those five guys, of course, Pettersson and Hughes are needing new contracts. Actually, we'll talk about that in a second, the contract situation of all five guys. But these are all five guys that are 26 or younger, right? Horvat's 26, Boeser's 20. Horvat's 26, Demko's 25, Boeser's 24, Pettersson's 22, and Hughes is 21. So they're all 26 years old or younger. They've all been drafted by the Canucks. And I think, it's not often you think of a core player unless they get traded to a team really early. Usually I think when you think of core players, you think of guys that are drafted by the team. And usually you're talking about your better players. So I think we filled all three criteria there. All five of these guys are young. All five of these guys are drafted by the Vancouver Canucks, and all five of these guys are, above average players for sure. Will Podkolzin, Höglander, and Rathbone meet that criteria. Well, they're all young for sure. Rathbone's 22, the other two are 20. They're all drafted by the Canucks, and they have potential to be really good players, so that's fine. JT Miller is a really good player. He's not that young, and he was traded here. Wasn't drafted. And also, I think of Connor Garland. Connor Garland could become of this core for sure, considering he's signed for the next 5 years. But, traded, of course, here from the Arizona Coyotes, not drafted by the Canucks, but at least he's young and he's above an average player. So you can see how it's not a perfect definition, for sure. You look at the contracts of this core, and Horvat's got 2 more years left on his 6-year deal. Boeser is entering the final year of his 3-year deal. Demko has his brand new 5-year contract, and then Pettersson and Hughes will get either bridge or long-term contracts or a combination of both. So contractually, it's not set for sure, right? You have Boeser expiring as early as the end of this upcoming season. So that's the one thing about this core. It may change because I don't see Horvat going anywhere. We don't know what the contracts for Pettersson and Hughes are going to be, but I think Boeser's kind of the wild card. As you guys know, I want him to stay. But we'll have to see what happens next year. The Canucks will have to clear a bit of cap room next season, at the end of this season, I should say, as I've talked about before. So I'm not worried. I'm not overly worried that they can't keep this core together, but Boeser will be the one to watch. And again, you have guys like Garland, Höglander, Podkolzin, and Rathbone that are kind of the next wave, which is pretty cool. I think the one thing when I look at this core of Horvat, Pettersson, Boeser, Hughes, and Demko, my biggest question mark is Hughes, quite frankly. I think Demko, despite not having like a true full season under his belt, I think we've seen enough, i.e. in the playoff run, and then last season, especially in March, where he was really good. And that's why the Canucks rewarded him with a 5-year contract. I'm completely confident in Demko. As I've talked about many times on the channel, Canucks have Luongo-type hopes for Demko. We know what Petey can do. Yes, injuries derailed him last season, but I'm very confident in him. And there's going to be a big spotlight on him, admittedly, this season because of his comments. We know what Horvat can do, improving every year and becoming the bona fide leader of this team. No issues there. And I think we know what Boeser can do. Yes, he hasn't been completely healthy, but he led the team in scoring last season. He was had off to a great start the 2 seasons ago before he got injured. So I think that I think we know what we have in Boeser. I may have messed up the timeline in Boeser. No, he got injured 2 years ago, I think. But so the question mark to me is Quinn Hughes. We saw how good he was in his rookie season, Calder Trophy finalist. We've seen how good he is offensively, his edge work, his pivoting, his skating, his ability to keep plays alive on the blue line, all that stuff, how well he thinks the game, great passer. I keep thinking of that long Hail Mary pass to Bo Horvat against the St. Louis Blues 2 seasons ago in the playoffs. So we know what Hughes can do offensively. We know also that he struggles defensively. He's not the fastest guy. His recovery speed, actually, despite how fast he is, I've kind of noticed that his recovery speed isn't the greatest. Maybe that's because he is a bit smaller and he gets bodied off the puck. I've also always said that Hughes, he doesn't have the fastest A to B speed. Like, he's not the fastest skater you ever see, but he's very agile and he's very quick and he's very shifty. And I think that's what makes his edge work. That's what makes his skating so impressive. But I think, obviously he had a rough sophomore season. Maybe it's Bradshaw coming in to help with the defensive side of the game, or maybe it's a new playing partner, or at least another year with Travis Hamonic, and maybe just a better team overall. I fully expect a bounce back season from Hughes this year, but I do think that of those 5 guys that I've been labeling as the Canucks core, that he is the one that really he needs to step up a little bit, and we really want to see the best of him for sure, and we haven't seen the best of him yet. Whereas I say with Demko, Pettersson, Boeser, and Horvat, we've seen the best of them. I guess we've seen the best of Hughes in his rookie season, so we know what he can do. And yes, last season was a dog's breakfast, but I do want him to improve, and he's going to be so key to the Canucks improving this season. So, Canucks fans, just some thoughts there. I think it's important to bring up because as we talk about all these players that they're bringing in, the Ekman Larsens, the Dickinsons, the Pullmans, the Halaks, we got to remember who our core is. And in my eyes, it's those 5. Boeser, Horvat, Pettersson, Hughes, and Demko. Then I have this next layer of Podkolzin, Hoglander, Rathbone, and I'd even throw Connor Garland in there. And then you have more veteran type players that help the core of Miller, Sutter, and Pearson, so to speak. But I wouldn't say they are indeed the core. So just some thoughts there for you. Nothing earth shattering, but I would love to open up discussion as who, when you hear the term Canucks core, who do you think of? Is it more guys than the 5 guys listed? Is it fewer guys than the 5 guys I listed? Or is it different guys than the 5 guys I listed? And should I throw Hoglander, Podkolzin, and Miller and those guys in there already? But for me, it's the big 5 of Horvat, Boeser, Pettersson, Hughes, and Demko. Would love to know your thoughts on who your core is and the criteria that I used, i.e. young, drafted by the Canucks, and above average players. Let's get some discussion going. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply as always. Shout out to my Hall of Fame members, Jens95, Sim Alexander, Justin Credible, Nux fan number 29, Lucas Gates, Chris Seifert, Adam Broomfield, Shea Family Channel, Shannon Hollingworth, and Andrew Chang. Thanks for your support as always. And thanks to the support of all members of all levels. You are listed in my video descriptions. And if you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, press the join button underneath this or any of my videos on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. 2 last announcements. Thanks for sticking all this way. Canucks After Dark, me and Parker tonight, 10 p.m. on YouTube. Hope you join me. And on my live stream on Sunday, August the 29th, I'll be making a couple of big announcements. So I'm going to tease them for about a week and a half. But on Sunday, August the 29th, I'm going to make 2 big announcements on my live stream regarding my plans for the upcoming hockey season when it comes to the direction of my channel. So look forward to that, and I look forward to getting your comments down below. Subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, become a member of the channel if you'd like to, leave a comment if you'd like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.